Wirth Watching. 56 years and counting.
Hello to you and welcome to our Wirth Watching special. That was some nice little graphics they pulled up for you there, Craig.
I'm old.
No, I liked it. 56 years. I'm Sarah Murphy, joined with our very own Craig Wirth here in studio, taking us back 56 years and counting, we must say.
I hope so.
Yes, a lot to go over tonight. We have a unique chance here to be informed, entertained, and just have fun looking at everyday life throughout history. Craig, you've got a lot of good stuff in store for us.
Well, we do. We have how we did our news shows in the 40s, the 50s, the groovy 60s,
nice.
and the 70s. So we have that, and we have a little bit about the history of Lagoon. You know, it's summer, and everyone goes to Lagoon,
Oh, yes.
and they have for years. So a little piece that we did on Lagoon. And you know, we have a new baseball stadium in the area. So let's take a look at the old one more time on 13th South, where baseball was played for 100 years. And on the subject of baseball, you know, in the old minor leagues, they used to have these people who'd go around and do little acts. I have Captain Dynamite.
Ooh.
Now, you can only imagine what Captain Dynamite does.
I'm looking forward to that one. A lot of good stuff in store. We're first talking about news, Craig, which you said has changed a lot in your 56 years.
I'll have to say that in my 56 years. I go back to the days of black and white TV and simple graphics. Then came computers and very primitive graphics, and they are almost humorous at times, but they really tried, and that really reflects the news of the day. And you know, the number one thing, you had to have a spinning globe for news around the world type thing, and so we have that.
Okay, let's take a look.
Well, it seems our newscasts weren't real fancy at our start to 1948. All you needed was a sign and a desk. And if there was a car wreck to cover, hey, just bring in the cops and some toy cars and show it. Or if city taxes are tough to cover, well, put them on a card and explain it on camera. And it worked. We had 100% of the ratings back then. Of course, there weren't any other TV stations for 1,000 miles. Well, our news got fancier, and sponsors loved it.
National Finance Company, with convenient offices near you, presents Today at 6, a complete roundup of the latest local and regional news. Your National Finance reporter, Ed Kemp.
An Air National Guard plane crashed and burned near Ogden early this morning, but both the pilot and his passenger bailed out.
Ed, well, he seemed to work 7 days a week.
The weekend news. And here is your reporter, Ed Kemp. Here's the news.
Then our news opens got real fancy.
Today in Pictures, a review of the events of the day gathered from Salt Lake City, the Intermountain area, and from the 4 points of the compass. This is the news, a presentation by America's first department store, ZCMI.
If you had a spinning globe, you had real news.
Science has made world distances shorter. Almost everything of importance that happens around the globe is of direct importance to one of the viewers here in the Intermountain area on 4-Star News.
Right, 4-Star News. Now this was swell news with a swell news open.
IGA 4-Star News is brought to you Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. by your neighborhood IGA grocer.
On America's first television station, KCPX-TV, Channel 4.
You didn't do anything without a great opening.
Presenting Roy Gibson and the news, a last-minute roundup of local and regional news of the West. Brought to you tonight by Conoco, the hottest brand going. Now here is Roy Gibson.
Tonight, Ogden City Police have taken a wider search area tonight to find the bandit who robbed an Ogden Savings and Loan Company early this morning.
Didn't I tell you, sponsors love the news?
Your own home railroad, Rio Grande, main line through the Rockies, presents as a public service, the weekend weather. And here is your weatherman, Wayne Scott.
All through the West, the record set, and even right here in Salt Lake City, they had a 78 degrees.
TV newscasts were even more swell. And by the late 60s, they were in color.
Now those were swell, but then came the groovy 60s and 70s.
4.
And the newscast, a mellow man.
Nightside. Nightside. A concise, up-to-the-minute report of the news, weather, and sports.
Combine groovy and new technology, well... Yes, Utah, TV news had arrived. We were in the electronic age.
And this is television for Utah, KTVX Channel 4.
Still settling in and keep up on this West Valley.
Stand by, camera 1, and cue Bob.
And live in your living room.
And the public is definitely invited. And that's the big news of the West, brought to you by Conoco, the hottest brand going.
That's it. Good night.
Yes, good night. But we'll have more news 7 days a week. Craig Wirth, ABC 4 News.
Well, we don't have a spinning globe, but we do have something coming up, and that's a look back at Lagoon. Utah's amusement park has changed quite a bit over the years, and we'll show you that story.
Stay tuned for that. Well, it's never too early to talk about summer, and with that, never too early to talk about one of Utah's favorite summer pastimes, visiting Lagoon.
Absolutely, in Davis County. What is your favorite ride?
Okay, so it depends. I like the mousetrap one, but you said you can't do that one, can you, Craig?
I can't do that. Mother Goose Land's too much for me.
No.
You know, it's...
you like the food court?
Not really.
Oh,
no,
okay,
it's all fine. I guess
you've
maybe
tried it all out.
I've tried it all out, and I've given it a good try. And it's not it's a great place.
Yeah.
If you like to ride roller coasters, I do not.
Okay.
It's a great place. If you like to ride things that go up and down, I do not.
But a lot of history.
It is a lot of history and good folks up there.
Mm-hmm. Let's watch.
It has been a part of Utah's summers since most of us were kids, and since most of our parents were kids. It is Lagoon. And many of us may remember when they charged one price per carload. So you put about a dozen kids in the old Plymouth, and you drove up those country roads in Davis County. You drove past nothing but open fields. And then, there it was, right at the corner of a farmer's field. Actually, it started on the shores of the Great Salt Lake. It was called Lake Park. The opening was a big deal that August night in 1886. An elegant pavilion and lots of trains to get you there. It was a stop on the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad. But Simon Bamberger bought it, and he moved it 3 miles to Farmington, where he had his railroad. It was a good idea. The Deseret News says 6,000 showed up on Labor Day in 1901. The big thrill was the Shoot the Chutes. That's where one took a boat down a big slide and splash hit the lagoon. Of course, the carousel was popular. From its installation in 1906, it's the oldest attraction at the park. It has 45 characters and thousands of memories. Julie Freed grew up with Lagoon. She's the third generation to be the caretaker owners of the famed carousel.
Hand-carved, hand-painted. This carousel is very, very special to Lagoon. It's on the National Registry. And actually, there was a fire at Lagoon in November of 1953. And it took 500 firefighters, all the firefighters of Davis County, to make sure that this carousel didn't burn down.
Even still, there were a few charred treasures from that fire. Lagoon chugged along for years until World War II. As part of the war effort, it closed. And that's when the Freeds bought it and wondered, would Utah still want to show up?
My grandfather, Peter Freed, and his brothers, after World War II, were looking for something to do. And Lagoon, 40 acres at the time, had been closed during the war. So in 1946, on opening day, he sat at the front gate, and they were just wishing someone, anybody would come. And he remembers counting on his fingers the people that came through the gate, and 18 people came, and they thought that was the greatest thing ever. I mean, they couldn't believe that people wanted to come.
They did come back to scream on the roller coaster of 1921 vintage, back to the speedway and the boats. Indeed, it was a time to imagine you were on the lake or imagine you were in a speedboat. You went back to Lagoon, and you were back to eat cotton candy. Of course, they came to be scared, and they were. And somehow you survived to do it all over. It's actually where Julie Freed started.
Oh, I was a character. I was dressed up as a doll. And it was in a room that was full of stuffed animals, and I would just pop out, and I thought it was the funniest thing. Little me, being able to scare people.
Lagoon beat the odds. It's one of the few family-owned regional parks left in America. The place with the big shoe. Yeah, my favorite.
So in 1956, the Freeds thought, well, it'd be a great idea to put together a Mother Goose Land and the old Mother Hubbard shoe. And you know, today, it's all part of the history of Lagoon.
Craig Wirth, ABC 4 News.
I love that shot of you on the shoe.
That's about as rough as I'm going to get out there.
Hey, we'll give it to you. Still to come here, the Utah Bees may have a new ballpark, but this latest move isn't their first. We're bringing you the history of baseball right here in Utah. Stay with us. Okay, everybody, we're going to talk about baseball with the Salt Lake Bees. We know there's been a lot of changes recently, and who better to talk about it than baseball's biggest fan, Craig Wirth. Craig.
You know, I just love baseball, and
Yes.
it was only an inability to run, catch, throw, or hit that kept me from being a ball player. Other than that, I would have done that for anything. It's my passion, my obsession, and I can't play the game.
You're the best fan in the stands, though.
I love the game, and the Salt Lake Bees have been around for a long time, and baseball has such a history in Salt Lake. And we also have the night that Joe DiMaggio came to the park, and, well, as you're going to see in that, they walked him. The crowd went nuts. You don't walk Joe DiMaggio when you go to a ballpark to see. So anyway, that's it. Now, are you a baseball fan? We've never talked about that.
I am, and I'm slowly becoming one more, especially as I've learned about the past of the Bees and the current changes, too. There's a lot to watch.
There is. It's a great game. And isn't it nice? You sit outside, you look at the mountains, the green grass, and people playing ball, and you go, I wish I could have done that.
Oh, it's so nice. Let's take a stroll down memory lane, shall we?
This has been Salt Lake City's baseball corner for 80 years.
This is the third Palace of Baseball to stand here. We go back to the days of the first.
Yes, before there was this park, and even before there was Dirks Field, and the Trappers,
Let's go!
and the Galls, there was this, Community Park. In the 1930s, the original Salt Lake Bees played here, and shortly after that, Artis started selling popcorn for 5 cents and Cokes for a dime, all at Community Park.
When you are under excitement like that, you eat more than you would at home. You go to the ballpark, you eat a bag of peanuts, 2 or 3 hot dogs, and a couple of pop. If you do that at home, you die of indigestion.
It was a great way to spend a day with the Bees. They were our boys. Most grew up playing ball in warm southern states and had never been to Utah before the nights at Community Park. One man who sat in the old rickety press box remembered them. The late John Mooney, the legendary Tribune sports editor, says the players were generally homesick.
They were so happy to see a newspaper guy who asked them a question that we used to have to almost drive them out of the office. They'd be up here all the time. They didn't have any money, and they'd want to come up and look at the newspaper files and look at the negatives, see if their picture was in the paper.
But then the scoreboard was blank. The war came and minor league baseball was suspended. However, Community Park was not empty. The military started playing games to support the war effort. And thus we would have maybe the greatest baseball night in Utah history. Soldier Joe DiMaggio and his Santa Ana Air Base would play the Salt Lake Air Base. The great Yankee Clipper, now Sergeant DiMaggio, would be here in person. Oh, there was a parade through town. The papers couldn't get enough of this. The Tribune showed his eyes, his grip, and his stance. This could not have been bigger. You couldn't have squeezed another fan into the place.
We had one of the largest crowds ever in Community Ballpark. We had to seat them out around the fence. There were over 8,000.
And oh no, the Salt Lake Air Base pitcher got scared and kept walking, one of the game's greatest sluggers that everyone had come to see.
First time up at bat, DiMaggio comes up, there's 2 men on base, and they walked him. I thought we were going to have a riot. Anyway, he did get a couple of hits.
It was another night at Community Park, a place where people ate peanuts and watched ball games.
There were cracks between the wood planks that people sat in, and people in eating peanuts at the time would drop shells down between the cracks in the boards, and if a person at that time would drop a match or a cigarette, the peanut shells would start smoldering, and we had water handling in a bucket, and they would warm up and dump the bucket on the plank.
And one night the bucket was not enough, and Community Park burned to the ground. So the city built a second park, Dirk's, but that is another memory for another time. Baseball. It's a game you watch in the present, but you certainly think about the past. Craig Wirth, ABC 4 News.
Well, coming up, Captain Dynamite, a character that became part of baseball history, and see how he put on a show for minor league fans over the years.
Well, we can't talk entertainment, we can't talk baseball without mentioning a very important character, Craig.
Captain Dynamite, the pictures say it all.
The place was an old wooden ballpark on the Montana Prairie in Great Falls. The documentary was about minor league baseball and the characters who made it special. The park was the baby of 2 groundskeepers, Billy C., who worked all night to make it special, and Grady, who really didn't work at all, but liked to push the wheelbarrow. But you got more than a game. You got the darndest acts that followed the minor league circuit. Like Captain Dynamite. He would be there Wednesday.
And Captain Dynamite will be here on the field to blow himself up.
Well, as you could imagine, folks showed up on Wednesday. Yes, Captain Dynamite was going to blow himself up. Well, back to our story in 1988.
You ever been hurt doing this?
I didn't get this face from shaving.
Well, now, Captain, why don't tell us exactly what you do here? You put dynamite around you, and you light the fuses, and you blow up.
The dynamite, I use 4 sticks and DuPont's explosives. It's 90%.
Come on, Sixer.
It's an odd thing. I've had blasting caps shot into me and horseshoes into my nose. A piece of my protection plate for the field hit me in here, and I don't even feel it until after I wake up.
Wake up? You mean you're knocked out?
Oh, yes, it knocks me out from 5 to a 15-second knockout every shot.
He signs autographs for the kids. But he admits to being a bit hard of hearing after blowing himself up 3,000 times before, all with sticks of dynamite.
Well, it's something that very few other people would care to do.
Now, as I remember, the pitcher was giving up home runs.
Just relax right here. Take a deep breath before you go. Let's go. Come on.
Meanwhile, the captain has now set up his ghastly shop in the back of the bullpen. He is making his coffin of death.
Way to go, baby blue. That way. Nice game. Nice swing, guys.
So the game ended, and we took our cameras to the field and back to the story of 30 years ago. And the captain comes out of the dusk, leading a company of a few good men. He found only the bravest, 3 players, Grady and Billy C. They carry the coffin of death. Their destination is second base.
Now, while you're there,
drop it. Drop it. Go ahead.
After a moment, there is only the captain and Billy C. Billy has been entrusted with a captain's sacred hat. Billy decides it would be a good thing to save second base also. Not even Grady has seen Billy run like this. Billy comes out. He is full of puzzlement. He is full of amazement. Billy is full of much wonder.
It is so alarming. But what video, Craig Wirth? Oh my goodness, how was that to see?
You just look and you say, I don't believe this happened.
No.
And he's not with us anymore. But then his wife took it over as Mrs. Dynamite. I can't make this up, but I got to tell you, so much fun today to have talked about these.
Craig, thank you for being here. Thank you for walking us along 56 years and counting. And thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
You got it. Bye.
Wirth Watching. 56 years and counting.